This is KGW News at noon.
I did what I had to do to stop the person who was attacking me.
By killing them?
2 of them passed away, but I stopped the threat from attacking me.
That was Kyle Rittenhouse. He's accused of shooting and killing 2 men and wounding a 3rd during a night of protests in Kenosha, Wisconsin last August. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brenda Braxton. This morning, Rittenhouse took the stand in his own defense at his homicide trial. Prosecutors are trying to prove he's a cold-blooded killer. They questioned why he drove across state lines from his home in Illinois and why he was armed with an AR-15 style rifle when he was only 17. Defense attorneys say Rittenhouse came to Kenosha to protect businesses from the unrest and shot the protesters in self-defense. Rittenhouse broke down on the stand while describing what happened.
Once I take that step back, I look over my shoulder and Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side, and I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski, and there were there were 3 people right there.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what that's what I run.
We're gonna just take time for our break anyway.
Defense attorneys have asked the judge to declare a mistrial after prosecutors asked Rittenhouse what appeared to be improper questions on the stand. The judge didn't immediately rule, saying he'd give the prosecution a chance to respond. Back here in Portland today, a tough break for a new business. It was supposed to have its big grand opening this weekend, but thieves took off with thousands of dollars in electronics and merchandise. Alma McCarty talked to the co-owner of Drip.
On West Burnside Street in downtown Portland,
the whole time, this is what we've been worried about. Literally the whole time.
A broken window is now patched up after an early morning break-in on the corner of Southwest 9th Avenue.
It was a bad one. Yeah, this is a bad one. I got a text message from one of my partners, and it had a picture of the window just hanging out.
Co-owner Reginald Parham didn't even have the chance to fully open his retail store, Drip, before thieves got in. The grand opening was set for Saturday.
The TV was back here, more clothes and stuff was back here, there's clothes over here in boxes and all there, and then the cash register was right there.
He estimates the value of the stolen merch and electronics to be thousands.
You know, we're a black-owned business. We're just trying to get it started. You got to think, this is our clothing brand that we came up with and, you know, went around the city doing pop-ups and all that, and enough to the point where people are buying enough that we can get the store.
After 3.5 years of selling chocolate dope apparel around Portland, Parham says it was time for a permanent home.
It's just downtown, being downtown, and you're not prepared. This is what happens.
Despite the burglary, he tells me he wouldn't change locations.
The city's making a comeback, especially right now. That's why we're down here.
He and his team hope Portland police can identify a suspect.
So you would think somebody's seen something.
Surveillance video from a neighboring business doesn't show much. And unfortunately, Parham says their camera system isn't online yet. But he sees this broken glass, this boarded up window, as just another roadblock, a small setback on the road to success.
It's always been roadblocks. You got to think, I came out here, I'm not from Portland originally, so the roadblocks that I was in front of, I mean, it's a lot of dope brands out here, a lot of dope people, and so just to work hard enough to even get to the level I'm at was, you know, so it takes a lot to stop me from doing what I'm doing anyway.
Portland police aren't releasing much information about the burglary. Meanwhile, Parham told us He'd like more security in the area to keep an eye out when he can't be there. His grand opening won't be happening this weekend. He had to push that back to early December. Well, the city of Portland and the DOJ were back in court yesterday talking about equipping police with body cameras. A federal judge wants to see a plan showing how those cameras would be used and under what circumstances the video would be released. Maggie Vespa has a look at how we got here.
So why don't Portland police wear body cameras? Well, it's a long story. So how did we get here? In the fall of 2014, a federal judge urged the city of Portland to put cameras on its officers, even though the U.S. Justice Department didn't require it. The mayor at the time, Charlie Hales, said sure. The Bureau even set aside money and held community hearings to get ideas. By 2015, things seemed to be on cruise control. The Oregon State Legislature passed a bill that created statewide standards for body cameras usage. The Portland City Council put aside more than $830,000 to put even more cameras in police cars. And the city pledged another $1.6 million to fund the program through the next fiscal year. Then, another year and a different mayor later, things hit a snag. Mayor Ted Wheeler questioned if the project was feasible and asked the Police Bureau for a detailed plan, including how much the cameras would cost. The police chief at the time, Mike Marshman, summed it up by saying, "That's, in a nutshell, why we don't have body cameras today." But fast forward to January of 2019, and there was another opportunity. Portland Police formed a team to finally come up with that detailed plan the mayor wanted to see. And in February 2019, the city held listening sessions. A year later, in early 2020, then Chief Jamie Resch said she supported body cameras and hoped to see a pilot program in the future. But once again, the plan hit a snag because the COVID-19 pandemic blew out the city's budget, and the body camera pilot project was one of many things that ended up on the chopping block. But now there is funding available, and the Police Bureau, the police union, and city commissioners say they support body cameras. That being said, even if the city council does pass the funding for them, the city is still trying to hash out the details with the police union. The main issues: when and how the video will be released, and if officers will be able to watch it before writing their reports. And that's how we got here.
Now to Newburgh, where the school board voted 4-3 to fire District Superintendent Joe Morlock. The move was unexpected, but we have talked a whole lot lately about the district. It's had multiple controversies, from banning political symbols like pride flags to students making racist posts on Snapchat. We don't know yet exactly what factors contributed to the board's decision to fire the superintendent right now. Members did discuss the motion during a closed executive session. Then they called for a vote. Morlock was under contract through 2024. The board will now submit written notice of termination. They have 10 days to get that done. All right, here's some video for you. Kind of looking a bit wintry up at government camp. Businesses there say they love the fresh snow that they had last weekend. They got about 7 inches. We talked to workers at the Mount Hood Brewing Company, which had a line out the door.
It's definitely an exciting time. We're expected to have a heavy snowfall this year. And I think it's encouraging just to see people wanting to get outside and wanting to engage and get together again.
Absolutely. The Mount Hood Brewing Company, though, and the Huckleberry Inn both say the problem now is hiring enough workers. Until that happens, they're reducing hours and only opening 4 days a week. Okay, from snow to a little talk about rain and wind. It's coming, but right now, Rod, not too bad out.
Yeah, nice out currently. By the way, snow levels are going to jump up to 8,000 feet and even higher tonight. So unfortunately, last weekend's snow will go bye-bye in a hurry as heavy rains and even 50-degree temperatures of pass level hit the mountain in the next couple of days. Here's the fetch we're watching, and notice how there are these little balls of kind of puffy white. That's convective activity. There's actually lightning strikes being detected out here in in the Pacific, but this is the flow that will be starting this evening to bring us our first wave of heavy, steady rain. Right now, we're pretty quiet. We've had these showers just kind of nipping along the north coast today, but it's been dry inland and will continue to be as we get rolling through much of the afternoon. Later today, that changes. Here's 4:30. This is the wave of the first batch of steady rain. And notice the bright colors, just heavy pockets of rain coming and going overnight. This is 1 a.m. That continues into a very wet start to your Thursday morning. Again, right now we're nice and quiet. Beautiful shot from Cathedral Ridge Winery out in Hood River. You folks in the gorge, the winds the next couple of days will be from the south. You don't get much wind when that happens, so you won't see much, but you will get the rain. Here's downtown Portland at 53 degrees. Temperatures this afternoon getting up into the mid-50s. Late afternoon, early evening, that's when the rain begins. You'll hear it coming down overnight. I'll have all the facts in terms of figures of how much rain we're going to be getting through Friday coming up.
All right, it's a bit. Thank you, sir.